Hi, welcome back to another video. The shoulder is the most mobile joint in the body, meaning it can have the highest degree of range of motion, but this can also come at the cost of joint stability. Shoulder mobility is important both from a strengthening and stretching perspective. We need strength to help support the joint and decrease risk of injury. We also need flexibility to maintain a pain-free range of motion. Your shoulders play a part in just about every single upper body movement. Your shoulder can move in multiple planes of motion and perform multiple functions, so any sort of limitation can be potentially dangerous and may even cause injury. Following on from the video last week, in which we have briefly mentioned the functional anatomy of your shoulders, understanding the complexity of your shoulder is important to prevent common injuries such as impingements. In this video, I'm sharing with you the best exercises to improve your shoulder mobility and range of motion. If you like this video, please click the like button, please leave your comments below and share this video. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my future weekly video release. Please also subscribe to this channel. This is completely free of charge, but will help the channel to grow. Thank you. So let's start with our first shoulder mobility exercise. Shoulder internal rotator stretch. So you're stretching the internal rotators by externally rotating your shoulder, because tight internal rotators can limit external rotation. Lie down on your back with a pillow or yoga foam pad next to your symptomatic arm, making sure that the pad is simply supporting the side of your arm and not underneath your shoulder, as this will end up limiting the stretch. Hold the stick in both hands, keeping both your elbows bent at 90 degrees. From this starting position, use your unaffected arm to push the stick across the body towards the symptomatic arm. Turn your forearm outward along the motion of the stick, but focus on keeping your upper arm next to your body. When done correctly, you should be able to feel a stretch at the front of your shoulder. Hold this stretch for a few seconds and then return to the start position. Next, the side-lying external rotator stretch. Stretching your external rotators by internally rotating your shoulder, and this is opposite to the above exercise. Lie on your affected side with the arm out in front and your elbow bent at 90 degrees. Place your other hand on the back of your wrist, then push down to rotate the affected forearm. As you perform this stretch, make sure that your shoulder doesn't hunch or move upward, as this will create the opposite effect, increasing tension in your shoulder and neck muscles. Through the rotational movement, you will feel a stretch over the back and the top of your shoulder. At the maximum point of rotation, hold the stretch for about 60 seconds, then return to the start position and repeat a total of 3 times. Next, self-myofascial release of external rotators, including the Infraspinatus and the Teres minor. And this is because weakening of external rotators due to formation of trigger points can impede external rotation of your shoulder. Releasing the trigger points within these muscles would help them to regain their strength by removing the tightness. You can either use a trigger point ball against the wall or a thorough cane. Stand up straight next to the wall on the affected side and place the ball on the wall. Then lean against the ball with moderate pressure. Once you have identified a painful area, try to move the arm of the affected side up and down, assisted with your other hand, to hit the trigger point from different directions. Next, the kneeling lat stretch. Remember, the action of the lat is to extend your shoulders, so to stretch the lat, flex your shoulders. Start in a kneeling position and lean forward at the hips. Prop your elbows against an elevated surface about chair height and hold the stick between both hands. Keep your palms facing up so your shoulders are externally rotated. From this starting position, sit back into your hip and bring your head between your arms. Make sure your spine rests in a neutral position so that you can avoid excessive arching of the lower back. Simply drop your weight down until you feel the stretch. Hold the position for about 60 seconds, then slowly bring your body back up to the start position. For bonus stretch, you can bend your elbows further to bring the stick over your head. This will prompt your body to drop further, allowing for an extra stretch in your triceps. Now for the pec minor, first we will review the stretch using a ball. In the upper front portion of your shoulder, right around the outer end of your collarbone, you should be able to feel a bony prominence. This is the origin of the pec minor. Place the ball against this part of your joint and push it against the wall to apply pressure to that spot. When you bring your arm back a bit, you should feel an initial stretch in the muscle. You can continue to deepen the stretch by leaning into the ball more and rolling it around just slightly over the area. Apply the pressure and subtle motion for 60 seconds and repeat it for 3 times on both shoulders. Conversely, if you need more of a prolonged stretch for the pec minor, the alternative foam roller stretch will be a better option for you. Take a foam roller and lay down on it vertically, ensuring that your hips are fully supported, your back is flat, and your head is also supported. Bend your arms into a W shape, retracting your shoulder blades. From this position, slowly pull your elbows down to prompt the stretch in the pec minor, and hold that stretch for something like 60 seconds for 3 repetitions. For the wall slide, place your back against the wall and position your arms in a W shape, just like the foam roller pec minor stretch from before, but standing upright. Keep your wrist against the wall and focus on making your back as flat as possible. To eliminate all the space between the wall and your lower back, inch your feet forward until you can successfully tilt your hip back and flatten your back completely. Once you have achieved this positioning, be sure to keep your hips tilted back, your core muscles engaged, and your rib cage tucked in. All of this will ensure that you can extend your chest during the exercise without any compensation in your lower back. From here, push your chest out and squeeze your shoulder blades back and down. This will activate the mid and lower trapezius muscles in your back. Slowly bring your arms up from that W position. Focus on keeping your wrists against the wall and extending your chest outward to achieve that increased squeezing sensation. Then slowly bring your arms back down to that starting position and repeat the exercise for 3 times. Now we're going to review the best exercises for improving your shoulder range of motion. Your range of motion refers to the maximum degree of movement your shoulder joint can manage. And though improving your range of motion is an entirely distinct process from improving mobility, being able to effectively control your shoulders and arm through a full range of motion is still dependent on how mobile and flexible the joint tissues are. This means that range of motion training often requires some degree of mobility work beforehand, and practicing regular tissue mobilization can be a helpful best practice for maintaining peak functionality anyway. Once you have ensured that the tissues surrounding your shoulder joint are mobile and ready to move, you can work through the following exercises to start improving your range of motion. Shoulder flexion and extension occurs when you bring your arms directly forward and backward on the sagittal plane. Lying on your back, hold a stick across your pelvis, using both hands with your palm facing towards you. Keeping your neck long and shoulder blades flat against the floor. Lift the stick up towards the ceiling while maintaining straight arms. As you lower the arms back down, focus on controlling the movement. If you simply let your arm fall back to the starting position, you are effectively just going through the motions. The key is to really channel your mobility and muscle strength. That way, you achieve optimal control over flexion and extension at the shoulders. Abduction is moving your arm away from your body. For this particular exercise, you are mirroring a similar position as the stretch for your internal rotators. That is the first exercise from the mobility section. Hold a stick in front of you, around hip level, with one hand on each end. Keep your shoulders and upper back relaxed. Use your unaffected arm and push the stick so it moves diagonally across your body. Without resisting the push, your affected arm will be lifted up, out to the side. Ensure that you don't hunch at the shoulders or twist at the torso. Either deviation would take away from solely practicing abduction at the shoulder joint. Once you have hit the maximum degree of abduction with your shoulder, carefully control the descent of your arm as you bring it back to the start position through the reverse motion known as adduction. Similar to the previous exercise, you want to practice abduction specific to the shoulder blade as well. Though this motion isn't quite as apparent as the abduction of your arms, the concept is still the same. Your shoulder blades move away from the midline of your body. Once again, you use both hands to hold the stick up at hip level, then lift your arms forward and up. The main difference between this motion versus the shoulder flexion exercise from before is that your shoulder blades aren't flat against the surface anymore. Now this combined forward and upward motion along the stick guide your arm to move within the scapular plane. This is one of the reasons why your shoulder joint is so unique. Most joints only function on the 3 primary planes of movement, like the sagittal, transverse, or the frontal plane. But your shoulder joint allows for an entirely different plane of motion, known as the scapular plane, which is essentially like a halfway point between your sagittal and frontal plane. It is this particular ability that allows you to elevate and rotate your arms during everyday movement. And just as with other exercises, avoid hunching at the shoulder and focus on controlling your movement as you lower your arm back down to the start position. Lastly, I have one more exercise to improve your range of motion, and it is the same as the very first mobility exercise that stretches out your internal rotators. Remember, with mobility, your goal is to stretch the muscles, but with range of motion, the focus is central to establishing sufficient control and stability throughout your movement. So while this may technically be a repeat exercise, your results will say otherwise. So make sure that you focus on muscular control this time when you're moving your arm back to its start position, rather than achieving a particular stretch and static hold. So these are hopefully simple to follow yet effective exercises to stretch and add mobility back to your shoulders and upper back. Remember, the shoulder is a complex network of muscles and bones that may require individual attention for some. Adding in some exercises to your regular routine or desk break may help you to counteract long periods of hunched posture and improve range of motion. Thank you for watching until the end. If you like this video, please click the like button. Please leave your comments below and share this video. Hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my future weekly video release. Please also subscribe to this channel. This is free of charge but will help the channel to grow. If you're interested in improving your health and fitness or losing weight, if you suffer from or wish to prevent back pain, please take a look at my book, which is now available from Amazon worldwide. Thank you.